Audio's working. We're all good. We've got a great show lined up for you guys today. We are doing another paint along session, and we're gonna get started in about 15 minutes. So stick tuned. Stay tuned. It's not a good sign. Hey Benny, gonna keep me in order. I'm gonna get our paints ready and get everything set up. Yeah, we'll start in about 15 minutes, like I said. Alright, good afternoon everyone. Thank you for joining me again today. If you didn't see yesterday's stream, we are doing a week-long paint-along series where we are working to improve our painting skills, but, you know, just get back into painting again. I used to paint a lot more in my youth. But through my career journey, trying to become an architect, I lost touch with my art, and it's only been recently that I've been getting back into acrylic painting. So it's been a lot of fun, and I'm really happy to have this journey being part of the artist studio, you know? Incorporating these two aspects. Yesterday, we focused on foliage and greenery and very natural landscapes. You can see it right there, right? Again, we're going with Impressionist styles this week, so our paintings are going to be looser. We aren't worrying too much about the fine details and rendering the quality of our images. So, to give it a good example from yesterday, if you didn't see it, there's a lot of definition that is loose, and hold on. So we got our painting here from yesterday, right? The details of the painting, there's certain aspects of it that if you look close enough, you start really picking out how it's painted and not the actual object itself. But the overall image really comes into picture when you're viewing it in its totality. But when we get into like very close-up spots, maybe it's probably better to do it on the other camera. It's just like when you get into it, it's so obvious that that's just brushwork. That is all just paint loosely blotted down on the paper. Okay? And that's the focus of what we're doing and what we're all about today. So look how messy and gross it is up in here. But when we actually pull away and we're looking at it in its totality, you're like, wow, that's a full little forested space there. So that's where our messiness comes into play when we're painting. We're going for the vibe of the space that we're creating, and not specifically the realism of what we're looking at or trying to visualize. So today we are going to be working with more rigid tools. I'm specifically working with palette knives, but if you don't have palette knives, what you can do is get some cardboard. Honestly, any kind of cardboard would work. I don't want to go into the other room to go get it. But cereal boxes or just any kind of rigid cardstock, if you cut them up into smaller squares, that'll be about the same length, like a inch or quarter inch, or just segments in different lengths. They'll be helpful as tools as we go along here. I'm gonna get my paints. I'm gonna throw up this starting soon image again here. So we're not painting quite yet. We've still got a few minutes to go. We've got to get our paint set up. And I gotta finish my coffee. Today we're gonna be working more with color blocks, sort of like more unmixed colors. So we'll be kind of mixing our color, and then maybe I need a smaller palette as well. Yeah, we'll just have fun with it. We'll be messy still, but I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that thought. That's my keyboard. I need a good spot for it. Sorry, Olive. I spooked Olive. I don't want to be in here if there's keyboards falling around everywhere. Let's put it over here. Okay, I think we're going to be working more with our warm colors. I don't know. We're just going to feel it. We're just working with our primary colors at first, so I'm dishing myself out. My red, blue, and yellow. So, once again, going over the colors that we're specifically using. If you want to be very particular, you'll need cadmium red. And that's the medium hue, cadmium. Need the cadmium yellow, medium hue as well. And the ultra blue. Those who hear cadmium and may get turned off by the sound of that word. It's a toxic chemical. It's a toxic heavy mineral, metal. That should have put the yellow over there, maybe. The metal cadmium we can't process in our body. It's no bueno. But when it's mixed with acrylic, you could technically eat it, and it's not going to poison you. Don't. It's not. Ultimately, it's not going to be good for you, but like, it shouldn't be high enough levels in which it causes cancer, which is what cadmium will do in high doses. But it's actually most poisonous or toxic, or it is toxic, when it is airborne. Like, it's the fine dust of the metal. We don't have an ability to breathe it in, obviously. So these paintings that we do, if you are ever working with cadmium paint, you can do that safely as long as you're not sanding it. If you are sanding your paintings, get a ventilated mask and do it in a well-ventilated space, away from your pets and others. Generally, I would avoid cadmium pigments. That's like the dust powders that you use to mix with mediums, like the pouring medium that I was describing yesterday. So if you're using like a pouring medium or any other kind of medium, making your own paints, I would caution using a ventilated mask when you are using cadmium. But like, honestly, if you're that, who am I even talking to? If you are making your own paints, you have an awareness of dangers of these paints. But who knows? There's someone out there who's just like, oh, okay, I learned something. I think I'm going to put my paints in, or put a bit of white in each one, so I can mix with those colors. I don't know. I'll just put a chunk of white in the center and decide later. So if you have watched Bob Ross videos in the past or other paint-along videos, you'll probably notice that this is a little bit different, where we're working with our primary colors and not specific colors. Whereas often when Mr. Ross starts his paintings, he'll give you a list of the paint colors that he's using. Hold on a moment. YouTube doesn't seem to be broadcasting. Oh no, there I am. Urban composition. Yeah, I'm just watching myself. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that is working. My streaming software is lying to me. Which is just like a... But I may not be getting comments, so actually let me pull up comments onto side. Wait a second. No, that's weird. That's yesterday's stream. My streaming software is acting very peculiar right now. Luckily, another couple minutes until we're going to start. So I'm going to take a moment to figure this out. I'll just leave my comments about that and leave the comments up on the other side. Chat. A couple things to watch, I guess, but that's good. So, got our paints. I need to tape down my board to my, or my canvas to my board here. I'm just using some cotton watercolor paper. This is just so, I don't know, we can roll it up if we want to later. It's more loose. I don't know. I like the texture of these watercolor papers with the acrylic, but honestly, you can use whatever you have. Regular printer paper would be maybe a little hard to work with just because it's going to be too flimsy. I would recommend something that has a little bit, that's a little bit thicker. Actually, you know what would be really good is if you have cereal boxes. I love myself some cereal. Cut out one of the side panels of your cereal box And if you can prime that using either some gesso or, yeah, no, just use gesso. If you don't know what that is, ask an art supply store for gesso, and they'll be like, yeah, I got you. It's a pretty standard primer material. And so that'll turn your cardboard into a nice pristine canvas. And I'm not applying gesso to this paper, this watercolor paper, because it's in a good state in which it accepts paint without absorbing it too much. Yeah, definitely, if you're painting on just any other regular painting or regular paper, if you're painting on regular paper, then I would recommend applying a primer to it, just so it doesn't wrinkle and fold too much as you're painting, because the paper will have a tendency to absorb a lot of the moisture from your paint, and it'll both dull and it'll make your paint look dull, and it will make the entire painting very warpy. Whereas you see the painting from yesterday is quite rigid because this is watercolor paper. It's literally designed to be able to absorb a lot of water without being damaged. Other paper, when it absorbs water, all the intricate fibers that are tightly woven together start to loosen up and unbind, and that's why it bends and warps. It's because the paper is trying to get larger. It's trying to fill a greater space because all those fibers are loosening up. Watercolor paper just won't do that. It stays nice and tight. So, I think we're just about ready to get started. I've got a varying amount of brushes here. These will be helpful to get us started with our background. I'm going to do some gradient coloring, and then we will use our palette knives once we kind of have our image blocked out. I think first up, I'm going to start with, oh, I've got to tape stuff down, and then change our screen over. Guys over to here for a moment. I'm just grabbing the paper here. And see, I have basically the same distance all the way around. I'm doing the same border technique that we did yesterday. Tomorrow we'll end up using a different canvas. And actually, I think before we end the stream today, if I remember, I will try to prime a piece of foam core that we're going to use tomorrow. Oh, sorry, Benny. I said Benny. Bumped his box. Nice even border all the way around. Just give you just remind you of what we are doing. Yesterday, we painted that beautiful painting, and then we, oh, over here, sorry. And then we had that masking border, and then once all of our paint had dried, we were able to peel our border up, and we have a very nice, clean, crisp painting that you can present in very simple ways just by hanging it up. Hello. All right. And he says hello as well. It's funny, every time I look at the camera here at you guys, I end up looking at the ring light. When I look back on my canvas, I see a ring. The troubles. Maybe we'll talk a bit about color theory, actually, about why that happens. It has to do with exhausting your retinas, or the cones, the receivers in your eyes. Fun color theory things in store for us today. So first up, I want to block out some of the composition that I want to create. What I have in mind is a streetscape, and we're going to be working with a little bit of perspective, but mainly we're going to be building upon compositional tools. So something I'm going to be using is a tool called the rule of thirds, and so that is just basically if you were to take your total canvas and you were to create a very clean, perfect tic-tac-toe board through the entire board, you would end up having divided it up into 9 squares or 9 rectangles that are all the same size, right? And these moments here where we have intersections, those are where you generally would like to put your most attractive or eye-catching aspects of your painting. The focal point, if you will. So what I want to do personally is I want to consider this 1/3 line as my horizon. And so if I were to have that as my horizon, I am also thinking about this here, this rectangle. We can start thinking about dividing spaces up in our canvas and sticking to some geometry that really looks appealing. This is where math kind of gets into play a little bit with art. And it's funny, when I was teaching kids over the March break, there's this one girl who said she had a math teacher who insisted to her that everything in the world is related to math. And she's like, "How is that possible? I don't believe him." And I'm like, "I believe your math teacher, actually. We'll go over in time how math plays a lot of roles in art, but for us, basically, divisional ratios of geometries and shapes, and using too big of words maybe, the primary shapes of math are useful tools for us as artists to block out our images. So what I'm going to be working with today is a lot of rectangles, squares, triangles, and circles. And we're going to be working in a method to form them to create our image. So what I'm trying to do is also follow some standard practices that you'll see in the art world. So we like to find lines of intersection based off of the total canvas that we're working on. So a nice line that we can always work with are our rule of thirds that I discussed already. And another one would be our cross section or cross lines that go between the corners. Now, I didn't take a proper art course in university for this stuff, so I know there's proper names for these things. But what I know, what I do know is that they're just helpful for composing your images. So a line like that, another crossed line here. I know if I create shapes from these, we'll be in good order, generally. And we're going to also use these as some foundation to use, or to do some very simple perspective. So what I want you to do is, if you are painting along, you want to do this, I want you to, let's first start with an X across our canvas, going from corners to corners. And then we're going to do a tic-tac-toe board. One moment. Okay. And at the intersection of your X's, or should be, well, there's your X, and then you have your horizontal. Wherever that horizontal crosses with the X, you do your verticals. And same applies over here. And so I need to actually redraw my vertical right there. So we're kind of playing around with the rule of thirds, because if we actually do the math, this is no longer thirds. The thirds are a little bit closer in. But for our purposes here, it's going to be a much simpler way to break our canvas up, instead of actually measuring out and plotting out the proper measurements. So now that we have those cross sections, we're gonna start simplifying some of the forms and seeing where else we can pull some interesting geometries. So something that I really enjoy is this triangular form that's forming right here. And what I think that's going to be is a sidewalk on a street. And so if we were the inhabitants of this space, we would be standing on the sidewalk, looking down, I think here, it's the sides of a building. Not sure how we want to create that then. I think we're going to have fun with the geometry on this one a little bit. So it's definitely going to have, maybe we're not in the perspective on the ground. Perhaps we're above a street. This is maybe a street that comes down. And begins to open up. Yeah, I think I like that more. But what if this is the side of a building here, right? This is our horizon line in the distance. So we get rid of this. Get rid of that. Maybe looking down onto the street. And the street's going to come down, but open up here. So I imagine like there'd be vehicles. We're looking down at the tops of vehicles here or whatever. And we're gonna really play with colors and motion later. So a vehicle going out this way or something like that. Capture the ideas of vehicles and people. What if we have over here sort of sidewalk and we have people running around? Got the I don't know, some kind of urban architecture form here. I'm gonna do maybe some window panes up here. Some kind of glass wall. Perhaps we're on, I think that's what it is. We're on an overpass of some kind here. This is maybe a railing that sits in front of us. Right. You can see the cars going through underneath us, but we do also have perhaps these bulky forms come down to be railings. That really works there. So what's going on over here then? I think we have we need a side street of some kind. Perhaps that's what that is. We need a building. So what is this line here then? Okay. Now I'm imagining there's a building here, and what if just so happens that the building's height hits our horizon line, and that's why this is such a beautiful image, is that we're pulling out so much geometry from our scenery. And this is, maybe it's like a Flatiron-y kind of building, and there's a street that goes up this way. And then what's in this spot? Maybe we have a park. And in the distance, there's buildings again. Something I was thinking about earlier on, months ago. I was sitting outside on my balcony. It was kind of a nice day, and there was a storm that was just passing through, and I really loved the look of the clouds and how they really darkened up half of the sky. But there was a sunset that was going on over here, and I really want to, I think, bring the sun into this scenario here. Yesterday we didn't focus on the sun and how it interacted directly with our image, other than those rays at the end, but I think you know what I mean. What if we have the sun peering past these buildings and it's casting very bright light down this road here? We gotta capture the idea of buildings off this edge here. Maybe they're just smaller, low-lying buildings. Some kind of suburb over here, maybe little trees and stuff. Maybe capture a larger part of a city, dense, oh, back in there. I think I want to just, maybe up here we'll have some kind of rooftop gardens or something. Yeah. I think this will shape up into something quite beautiful. So what we're going to be focusing on as we go here is how light plays with these geometric forms, I should say. All of the buildings are simple forms that we could break down into cubes. And if you've done any shadow studies in art, you know that cube shading is kind of one of the fundamental skills that you learn when you first get into art. So we're going to apply a lot of that fundamental cube shading skills to these buildings, but we're going to be talking more about the color tone of those shadows versus the general black and white that you would see in any kind of like shaded image. So like yesterday we did all of our shadows in sort of a blue wash. Today I think we're going to play with colors a lot. Blue is definitely going to be coming into play, but I think reds are going to be something interesting to play with as well. And then artificial lighting in a lot of the windows spaces, especially on the left side of our image, or any buildings facing towards the left, they will generally have a dark space in that building. So because the sun is located behind them and those rooms aren't getting any direct sunlight, so there's going to be internal lights there, right? So we're going to be playing around with a lot of the kind of color of artificial lights and how that differs from the color of natural lights. So I think the first step will be painting out the general blocks of our painting. So we have our sky block, we have this triangular block here, which is a lot of the similar kind of tones. We have this block here, and we have our block here. So it kind of it really does play with the same block as this funny triangular one. And then we have, of course, our building block here. I think we just have a sidewalk that wraps there. No. The City Skylines player in me wants to design more of a, like, interesting intersection here. Like, why would they navigate the cars around this weird roadway? And then also having this, maybe it's not, maybe that's just an alleyway. I think I mentioned there'd be park here, that's what that is. Carve out some park space. Okay, let's get into it before our paint starts drying up. So we're gonna be working with, we're gonna be working with white. No, we're gonna be working with brushes first. Just to fill in these color blocks, and then we're gonna be playing with the paint knives, palette knives. I'm gonna grab a larger, medium-sized brush. We have... What color tones do I want to go for here? Maybe I want to test stuff out here. I'm gonna grab some paper. think generally we want this kind of so that's going to be hitting a lot of the sun. Just coming from. I'm just shrinking the idea of the painting down here and seeing if I can get my colors right. The sun is very white, or sorry, yellow there. Does anyone else? Sorry, does anyone else do that? When they mean to say white, sometimes they just say yellow, and vice versa. I don't know why my mind does that. It is largely not green. Is it red? Is my city red? I'm wondering if maybe we just don't use green. That might be interesting. Sorry, I'm getting a call. Oh, guys. Thing is, I don't know yet. I think we're just gonna be exploring. We'll do a nice sunsetty color first. We'll go from a bluey purple. Up here. I think we'll just keep going a bit more red. Like that. A bit of yellow in here. So transition to orange. I think purple's going to be our color of the day. A lot of purples and grays into that the buildings here. I'm going to definitely soften this up. Very, very vibrant. Maybe you want to go for a vibrant painting, though. You do. Get that done. As we start filling in more and more of the clouds and the details, it'll get brightened up a lot. start brightening this up. I'm gonna start just pulling some white. I'm gonna start up where the sun is. Mush more and more and more as I go further and further out. Maybe just indicate a bit more of a blue sky over on the brown. Going brown on me. Okay. Get more red. What do you think of that? Looking pretty good. So these first layers, this is just going to be these color blocks. They are our under layers. After that, we're going to be building up more of the architecture of the image. Working with our background, foreground, middle ground, foreground. And in each step, we're going to be building up and refining more and more of our detail. So I think down here, I'm done with that paintbrush for a moment. Another one that's it's not full of red. I think I want to go from a very sharp white and yellow here that transitions to blue there. Goodness, someone really wants to get a hold of me. It's a front door. Hello? Okay. Lucky I answered. Must have forgot his keys. Yes, he did. I should silence this. Sorry about that, guys. Just rude of me. Okay, back to this. So, white. Down here. And I think I want to recenter this a little bit. As that dries, we'll probably pull in more of a daytime sky blue there and make a better connection. It's sort of a transition from night to day, or day to night in this painting. Some bright down there. I think it wants to transition to blue here. He's always napping here. And then I think sort of. What's up? Just watching? No, watch on the TV so I get the view. You're talking too quietly, I can't hear you. I have no idea. No one knows. So here we aren't capturing any detail, we are literally just trying to block out color and shapes based on our composition. And while we're at it, we're just making some beautiful gradients. You're finding that your paint is drying up a little bit. You can use just a little bit of water to loosen it up. As long as your acrylic hasn't been standing to dry for hours, then you'll be able to re-wet it using some water. I think here we're going to really play with the dark that's coming from here in. So we're going to go from purple again, I think we're going to make a bunch more of that. I'm going to go this dark purple. And I'm going to start bringing more red. It's going to be... I'm going to play with that. That's going to help with the effect of the artificial lights later. Draw this down the side of the building edge there. Base, I should say. And then I'm going to start to transition back to this blue here. Try to connect everything back together. So we're just going to bring in the blue. Blue. I'm going to start bringing white into this equation. Been a bit much. I'll bring in more blue again. Smoothing this down. A lot of that lighter pigment on my brush. I'm just going to get some paper towel. So if I want to still use this brush because it's generally the right tones that I want, but it's just a little too bright. So I'm going to get rid of that bright white that I had on there. starting getting back to those darker tones. Pick up my blue again. Again, I picked up those whites, so I'm going to drop them off on the paper towel. Pick up some more blue. And we can play with the white again here. And a little bit of red in there, that's kind of funny. Quite happy with that as my base for the roads, and we're kind of capturing the side neighborhood there. Next, I want to bring in some of these tones and transition to just a blue. I think there's going to be blue right here. I'm going to transition that down to colors that are down in here. This red to kind of delineate the sidewalk there. Just bring those blues down. Now I'm going to, I think I'm going to use this yellow and just draw that yellow right down. It's turning green, I don't like that. Let's transition that yellow into this purple. It's going to be an interesting one. I need to go orange. I don't want to go brown, so we'll use the red as our transition. Okay, now I want to, I think we're gonna do this whole big swath here. And for base color, I think it's gonna be capturing our sunlight. It needs to be going down to this dark purpley red here, the base. I want it to transition up to towards very vibrant yellow. Just one. Ooh, definitely jalapenos. No, definitely. Use a little bit of water to loosen this all up. I could almost stop here, and it's almost like a little abstract painting. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to my audience. I don't think it.
Cutest dog at the barber shop.
Oh yeah.
He has like a hot cake dog, like from Dominican.
Mhm.
Like blue. That's like let's take her.
Oh yeah.
Her owner, I guess they're saying is NBC says like a babysitting. When he came in, I guess like the second part of the show. So he came in with the dog and was like, "I've seen you here for an hour. I gotta stay married." Like, yeah, whatever.
I guess, yeah, sure, why not?
I was like, "Yes, leave dog care, yes." And then the whole time she's like, "What all does?" She just sits there like this and stares at the door like.
When you come back.
And I'm like, hey, and I like a little, and she's like, "Are they good?" And she's like, "Okay."
All right. I think we need to take our first break so we can let this dry up. And when we get back, we're going to start playing with color blocks. So I think we're going to need to get, yeah. If you don't have palette knives, hey Diggs. If you don't have a palette knife, right, you can use cardboard. So cut yourself up some varying size strips of cardboard, and when we get back, we'll be turning this basic painting into something a little less abstract. So stay tuned. About 5 minutes, guys. And welcome back. Okay, so we are going to be turning this pretty basic, although kind of cool painting into, I don't know. I'm not going to promise anything. But we are going to be using palette knives, so we're switching up our tool of choice. We're setting aside our brushes, and we're going to be working with these bad boys. Though I think I'm going to pull aside some brushes so I can mix my colors, because they're just going to be so much easier to mix with a brush than a palette knife. Because I don't want to lose all my color, and I like the look of some of the unmixed color that is provided by mixing with a brush. You can normally mix with palette knives. That's literally what they're good for. But not today, palette knives. Okay. I think we're gonna work with bringing in some of the window structure. We're gonna I think I'm gonna say goodbye to my talk of working background to foreground, and maybe we'll just work within each of the segments that we have here. I'm going to start over here, fill in some of these windows here, and so I'm going to make a nice bright yellow into the segment. Pull some yellow into my palette. The yellow palette. Well, start mixing that up. Take this. So this is going to be sort of like reflections on a window. And before we get started, I want to talk about perspective a little bit. So we have our horizon line here, and any architecture that we create that has horizontal lines or geometry, those horizontal lines need to visually direct towards the horizon line. So if you were to look at a window, let's imagine our canvas is a window for a moment. The window is constructed of parallel lines. Ooh, lunch. Thank you, Sean. Let's set this aside for a moment, finish teaching, and then we'll dive into that. So for what were we talking about? Yes, our window is constructed of parallel lines, right? And a building is usually just a series of these panels constructed together. At least a lot of modern day architecture is. It's kind of my gripe with it. So what we're going to do here is a pretty simplistic paneled building here. And if we look at a window, we have a construction of two sets of parallel lines that are actually actually parallel to each other. Those sets of lines. I'm not a math teacher here. The parallel lines are perpendicular to each other, right? That makes sense. So when we talk about perspective, the horizontal lines, the parallel lines, are no longer actually parallel. They vanish towards a vanishing point, or in this case, our horizon line. We're going to have a series of different buildings, and so none of those buildings are going to have the same vanishing points, but all of my horizontal lines will go towards an imagined vanishing point that sits on my horizon line. So we're going from actually parallel lines to visually parallel lines. So to give you an example, I'm going to use a 1/2 inch, I think that's a 1/2 inch palette knife here. We're going to just start drawing in some window segments here, and I'm going to try to make it so my bottoms of my windows directing towards that horizon line. Same with the tops. So at this point, I've given one indication of a direction. So now I'm going to follow where that imaginary point is. So it's about right here. I'm going to say it's the forehead of our pokey here. So every single time I do a horizontal line on this building, I want to go to the forehead of this pokey. Just doing rectangles. Constructed of light yellow paint, and it's going to start looking like windows on a building. Won't we get more of them in place? Perhaps there's a small segment here. I'm going to start filling in its neighbors. What's up? What are you looking for? What's going in, guys? Oh. Are you on camera? Yeah, you're on camera. You did it. I'll leave a little bit larger space on this one. So I want to keep those lines continuous, or relatively continuous. They can be loose, you know, the point of our impressionistic style. We're playing with our imagination here. It's not like we're sitting and doing a still life in real world. We get to have some fun with it. Some artists will do this kind of painting for background art. So you'll see they'll do very detailed render work. Or sometimes you'll get artists who don't know how to do a background, or they want a specific style of a background, and they'll hire an artist to do backgrounds like this that sit in animations. Maybe we have a nice big long window there now. Now, what if we have the tops of these buildings start casting shadows and we don't have as much reflection on the window? Perhaps we gotta capture a little bit of a reflection here, or something a little bit, you know? But then, let's start playing with the colors of the building across the street. And for the reflections, I want to capture the undertones of these color blocks. I'm picking up some of the purple that we'd made earlier, which is present in here. Use that as my color. Again, we're trying to follow our horizon line here. I think I want to actually pull in some yellow still. Pick up some color in there. Pull that down. I think we'll return to that guy and start getting more into the streetscape. No, maybe not. Let's define it now. Let's define a canopy, at least. I think if there was a glass, I'm imagining some sort of glass canopy or something here, it would reflect the sky. And so I want to maybe capture some of that red here. So still using that palette knife. I'm going to use straight red. I'm just going to pull out some panels. Sort of as though this building has some sort of architecture that covers the sidewalk. Add some entrance ways. Or glass, maybe. They're still a little bit transparent. And I like the idea of it. Maybe it peeks around the corner a little bit, so we capture that corner. Like that. And I'm going to make an orange. So I like that red, but I think it wants to pull in some of that orange as well. Pull yellow into here, maybe. Oh, what is that? To finish up the edges of our canopy. Now that we have a sort of stopping point where those windows would come down to, we can safely fill them in. I sort of imagine there's a little one right there, maybe. Sort of a fake window, like a transom. Not a transom, that's the wrong word for it. Spandrel panel. something else. Maybe the architecture just changes up a little bit here. I don't know why I picked up more of the yellow. I didn't want that. I was going for the purple. You know, it doesn't need to be perfect. You know, we're having fun with it. What I think we're going to do is we're going to go maybe define this building in here. We'll come back to this, we'll let it dry up, and we'll start adding a little bit more of the details to it. But actually, using the purple, maybe define some hard edges of our buildings. So maybe down in here is a building. So let's pull this across. And I'm going to take a purpley red. Do a similar maybe a little bit. So I'm going to grab a nice long palette here. I think this is my issue now. I'm going to myself some paint here. I'm just going to start defining some linear lines. So I'm going to capture a sidewalk maybe. I'm going to drop that and pull it. Now using the same line, I'm going to expand out a little bit. Need a little bit down here. Get to the edge. Here we have a little park back here. Maybe we ourselves fence of some kind here. There's something going on down here. Who knows? We're just gonna put a loose little some lines that go across. Now we're just having some fun. I want to start capturing maybe the edges of this building and more. Actually, I'm going to grab a smaller one here. As long as our horizontals keep going towards our horizon line, the eye can start playing with what we're seeing, and who knows, it could be what one person sees is going to be the same thing the other person sees. But what's important is that we're capturing the idea of an urban landscape. I like this a little bit better there. No? Yeah. The building just needs to be really blocked out in blue there. I think we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start blocking out the edges of some of these buildings that would be captured by the sun. Just make some towers back here. Just blocks, and we'll fill them in with more detail in a bit. And now we're just kind of creating the gestures of buildings and the ideas of structure. Now, if I remember correctly, we have a railing of some kind here. I think we're gonna first start with maybe this purple. Let's do that purple. I'm just going to sweep this, or try to sweep this across my canvas. Oh, almost. We almost got there. Pick up a bit more. I think it'll be okay that our line's broken. Now, just under that, I'm going to just start filling in some of it. I'm not going to lay on my paint too thick because I want to get some detail of some busy streets down below, and then we'll cover through. We'll go back through with our railing there. Things are still looking pretty rough, but we're definitely getting towards something here. I think I want to do is play with the sky next. I'm feeling white. I'm gonna take some of this white and play with that in this purple here. Some interesting shades out in that. I'm just going to we're going to make some, I don't know, I think some geometric clouds of some kind. I'm just going to smudge that through here. Just trying to capture where the sun is hitting the edge of some storm clouds. I'm going to build in some storminess moment. Some blue on me. That transfer there. Just cover up with a bit of white. I don't know what that is now. I'll have to figure that out. I don't know. I'll cover that up later, I guess. Had to wash my hands, maybe. I think on the edges, I'm just going to cast some white there. And that I'm going to just pull. I don't know why I went with that. I was like, I'm done with white, and then dipped into white. I need blue. Play with that for the clouds. I capture some, get blue in underneath some of that white there. Make sure that it's really indicating that there's dark, thick clouds. Contrast that white. There's way down there. All right. I'm gonna enjoy some grilled cheese. What do we need to do next? I think some livery down on the ground plane. I think getting the idea of vehicles in would be helpful. I think we need to capture just the idea of the sides of buildings vanishing off to the edge there. And this looks funny. It needs to be darkened up. Looking at it in the in the preview window on my monitor is helpful. Like I can see that there's like this blankness here, but to be honest, I think we're gonna end up putting some street urban life, like telephone poles, or not telephone poles, but electric poles and street lamps and all that. This needs a lot of work, eh? Cool. Almost. There we go. That's what you guys really want to see, right? Over here. Let's get back to it. What, you want to be part of this, Benny? This isn't about you. It's about the painting. That's what I get for messing with things. So, like, there we go. Yeah, this needs a lot of work, but do I want... No, I want to finish up the clouds first. Fix them up. Don't be like me. Take better care of your paint tools. Hey, Agent, how's it going? So I'm gonna take that long one, long palette knife again. I'm gonna spread some yellow up here. Where else do I need this yellow? Actually, yeah. I'm gonna first use this to put in the side of our buildings here. Well, I hear Among Us 2 is now out. Oh, your video, specifically your video. Oh, Agent Quack has a new video. That's awesome. Well, I'll have to watch it after my stream. But good on you for getting it done. I think I'm gonna tone it down. So right down here. Light blending. The knife. Well, thank you, Agent. I hope you have a wonderful day as well, and thank you for dropping in. Gonna draw some yellow paint onto the edge of my long palette knife. I'm gonna try to capture some of that sidewalk there. Have a good one. I don't think I want to do... What do I want to do for this? Yeah, maybe it does also capture... Maybe it capture a bit. That way as well. That's perhaps how far it goes. I need more paper towel. That was dangerous. stairs for the painting. Actually, what I want to do, I want to make that into curve in here. Not that much. It's a bit extreme. Yeah, let's undo that. No, let's not do the exact same thing. Many times I do that. It's like, okay, try again and draw the exact same thing that I didn't want to. And I want this to feel like the street has a little bit of flow, like it's coming up and being split into two here. So I'm feeling that this needs to curve a bit more there, but preview definitely looks better right now. I like it. I think we're going to grab a brush. Be a stickler to our palette knives. I want to put in a sun. Nice bright white sun. I know I have it arcing as those suns right here, but I think it needs to be just like, it was just a magical coincidence that it was lined up to the street here. It's going down. Normally a setting sun would probably be much more yellow and warm. I want to really emphasize that it's just ridiculously bright. I'm capturing the yellow around the edges of that. The song is just so great. We're going to start turning all of these white highlights that we've had earlier. I'm going to just complement them with a little bit of yellow. Just picking up that setting sun's hue. And earlier I was talking about bringing more blue daytime sky over there. I think that's what we can do right now. I know you're looking at me. That's crazy. It doesn't look like it makes sense right now. Give me a moment. We'll get there. Start bringing blue into here. anticipate that out. Not quite liking this. I'm gonna keep working it until I get there. I think that's what's missing. It's just been such a chaotically stormy day. We just have a storm all over the place. Just need this in though. realizing I've been quite quiet. I have not been instructing on how to do any of this. If you, this is all very complex stuff. I'm just playing with gradients this whole time. You can. I would have suggested probably leave the sky as you had it, but if you were painting along with me, just have fun with it, you know? That's all I'm doing. I want a bigger brush so I can even that out. So I think from here, I kind of want to just have a nice smooth sky. That was the way we're doing it. We're gonna need to go with some pretty dense paint. Try and transition over to that red there. Blue's coming in there as well. I like the drawing the red through on that. I think we need more of a sky blue in here. Clean those up. Alright. I think I like that kind of that smushiness. There is a crinkle in the canvas, though. That's the glare is casting. It makes it look funnier than it is. I don't know. I think I do want to bring more red up into that corner again. I'm glad we tried it, but I was closer to the right look. That glare is quite deceiving. Let's see if we can get the glare right where the sun should be. That's that crinkle in the page. That looks funny now from my good. That's better. Okay. And we'll get back to some palette knives. And I just want to capture some of the ideas of some vehicles and things like that. I want to go about doing that. We might need more blue. First, I want to define some of our edges a bit better. Maybe we don't need to. Let's do a vehicle. Where do we want to start? Let's do something right here. We'll kind of give it a little sweep. And you know what? I think that's all we need. I think we just have that little sweep open, and that's enough to delineate the vehicle for us. Could do another guy right here. We'll give them a little bit more detail once that's dried up. This is a good base for us to work from, I think. Another passing vehicle, somewhere like right here, actually. This guy's gonna be much bigger. Do a few. We'll actually go this way. Angle on this one is that we're basically looking at the top of them. Keep that in mind when we get into painting some of the details. Use a shorter edge. Just grab another idea of vehicle there. Right. One more. These are just our undertones, our shadows, and the idea of the vehicle. Actually give ourselves two passing colors here. have some interaction amongst your images. And back here, get the guy. It's a cyclist or something, we don't know. Giving it more detail in a bit. I have a smaller edge. You can use the tip of the palette knife, or just use brushes. Honestly, thinking about it, you can probably get away with using brushes for this whole thing, but you will have more brush strokes in your blocks of color. That's not necessarily what I want. So like this kind of, I have the texture of the canvas, and that's kind of what I'm going for more. All right, we got our long palette knife. I'm going to, so let's give ourselves some paint to work with. Take the long palette knife. I'm gonna paint along the edge. We're gonna just do some telephone poles, or street poles, sorry. Street lights and stuff like that. Just gonna get these front ones that the general same height as our palette knife. And I'm gonna take some right on the edge. For this one that's getting caught by the sun here, I'm just gonna give it a bit of a shot. Maybe we'll do that with the paintbrush later. Alright, we'll do one more. We'll do one something here. Maybe we'll do a like street light or something here. We'll indicate some of the arms here. I'm not concerned about blotchy bits. I'm just trying to get the idea of things here, right? Maybe I want to capture some of the street lights here. I'm just gonna start pulling some little bits of paint down. And some of them I'm just gonna give the little toppers to. Back here, just a little idea of some paint. We'll give a... I'm just gonna smush some stuff up back there. There's some kind of architecture. There's things going on. We need to give more details to some things back there, but we're gonna play with this a bit later, where the light's gonna expand out, and all this detail is gonna get very, very muddy, but things are gonna come into focus here a little bit, or out of focus. Since we're here, I think I want to capture some extra. Maybe this has like a little slope-proof thing here. Something, I don't know. Indicate something going on back there. Give ourselves another think it's gonna be fun. I want to. We're gonna just create a very up close little street light here, and we're gonna focus on the. We're gonna talk later about the light quality between these two objects. But if you can tell, or if you can see, I'm trying to hit the street light onto the same 2/3, that third location. Just gonna the street light, something to sit on here. We might want to create the foreground. Nope, I'm gonna add some other people. Some shitty little people. Scared to get my finger in there, do a little bit of finger painting. Just using blue to capture just this high contrast idea, these figures being caught by light. Later we'll give them little highlights using a paintbrush. Turn these little blobs of things into little figures and stuff. Give life to stuff using different colors. Blue just acts as a nice little background. It can help give us texture too. I intended to use this pipe as a holder for my brushes, but not needed. I'm being messy today. That's per usual. I always go into painting. I'm like, I'm gonna be clean and organized this time. Don't get paint on anything. No need for an apron. And as you can see, I'm not wearing one. Let's see if I get away unscathed today. I'm gonna capture some of the linear. Is that what? Overpass railing. More paint. I need more paint. Actually, I think we would see just a little bit of this guy. Okay. Oh, what do you think, Benny? Hey? Oh, okay. Rude. He's so blunt. Alright. Keep working it. That, I'm gonna pull. It's sort of like there's like a little lip or something there. That's capturing some light. Capturing shadow, as I should have said. And then on top. Actually, maybe more of the red. What's going on with this window? Just change the. This should be the artist studio's thing. And then just like me montaging through art, that'd be a lot of fun. I think what we need is some sort of vertical on the building here. I'm gonna start using brushes to get some detail into this painting. I'm about done with the palette knives. It's still going to be very color blocky, loose, and all that. The palette knives are just going to be too big for us. So really enjoy that this is very primary color still, you know? We haven't done a lot of color mixing, and I think we're going to keep that. Pull some blue. Just gonna start creating some the idea of some, I don't know, some columns or outward structure bits here. Inside of some of these windows here. Running some of this watered down blue just through these lines that would be purple and try to pick up some shadow work for the building there. A little bit goes a long way. Just doing enough for the eye to start filling in more of that detail itself. Start looking at the lights here, and the reason why I went with a white light for our sun, because I want it to outshine any of our other lights, but I also want there to be a high contrast between our darkest spots in our architecture where you can't really notice or render any of the information visually, but that's because obviously there's lights that are artificial, and those spots are illuminated enough for us to kind of visually see what's going on. And so down here I would like to get some like storefront lightage that kind of casts some interesting shadows and stuff, and the only way for us to kind of understand that and be able to still see the information all over here is that this needs to be blown out and very, very bright. And so we will be kind of muddying this area up with a lot of white that casts out from that sun. But this is like the brightest of the bright spots for us. And then if we consider the blues that we've been working for, those are the darkest of the dark spots for us. It's about playing with the variabilities of the light in between. And so we need to now consider what is the next brightest spot in our image. And that's definitely going to be this light right here. And I'm just going to start that it's yellow. And I don't know if I would want to bring in any white into it yet. But I think we're going to need to just a little bit to indicate that it's on. Especially right here, it's going to be catching some of the sun's light through start playing with the light here. So I'm getting ahead of myself because this is kind of what I want to do with the sun later. But evidently not to... Or I want the sun to be more, to a greater extent. These will be our lights there. So if we have a light right there, I need to think about the highlights. What is that light affecting? I think it's affecting this, most importantly right here. It's being caught down here. And on its pole. And maybe it's a little bit more yellow as it gets further away. There's a bunch of yellow here because we also are contending with the sun, which has been our main bright source here. It's a bit heavy-handed, but that's okay. Draw that yellow all the way down. Should maybe grab a smaller brush to do this. Yeah, I think that's okay. I'm gonna start thinking about these other light sources here. So we've got one here, we've got one here, we've got one over on the other side. Got one down over here, but it's really not that bright. There's just gonna be like one right there or something. And it's, yeah. It's a very exaggerated perspective. Like it's, we're not going for realism again, we're going for the idea. Interesting composition of a cityscape. Again, there's a three-piece bay window or something like that. Back here, imagining that we have some buildings that are just going to capture that light That's enough of that. Same as on the horizon, catching the sun going down. And this rooftop, I think I just want just a little bit of whoop, sun beacon over the top there. You know what? Maybe it even that. Red to just use a red to delineate. I think I like that a lot better now that the pulled the roof line down. It works. Over here, I think I'm gonna use this red to arms. Just kind of playing with smudges and blocks, catching the idea of it's linear blocks, right? And then think about each block as its own piece that you can play with. What's the roof look like? Stick with the same kind of tones that its neighbor has, but vary it up just slightly. It'll look like its own unique building. Benny's jittering in his sleep. Stop doing it. Oh no, ain't there. He's in a deep sleep. Too cute. Let's get back to painting. Use some red to get your rectangular roof here or something. Welcome back to the world of living. Good sleep? Yeah. Sounded like a good dream. Take some yellow This is a park. Let's try to imagine, like, what the treetops look like. Was it a bad dream? You have a bad dream. Oh, it's okay, buddy. Come here. Come here. Come down. There you go. There you go. Oh, careful. Oh, my sweater. No, I'm being very loving right now. I think it was a bad dream. Come on, come on. You like to loop your arms on me. Maybe we want to use this. We want to capture some that light in underneath the canopy. Dangerous painting with you here. You're getting fur everywhere. What do you think, Benny? Where do we go? Where do we go next? Back to the cars? Give cars the headlamps that they need? Right. Could I be so naive? Oh, careful, but back in the box then? Oh, wait. Reflection on that and stuff. Maybe oh, it is a little. To be doing red lights. Indication of a red light out there. Some blue to fix up some of the details on this canopy here. Just indicate that there's more depth in the structure going on. Be careful what's actually happening there, though. That's something attached to. When in doubt, cover it up. figured out what I wanted to do. How do lights, street lights go? Is it right on top or right on the bottom? Can't visualize it at the moment. Signal lights, also called signal lights. Red's on top. Of course it is. I knew that. This big hunk of red. Got a red light. We only need to delineate the idea of these other lights. We aren't using green in our palette here, so we'll just stick with that muddy brown. It says green because we kind of know what it's supposed to be. The idea of been playing with light a lot in my paintings recently. I've been doing these little swirly bits, as though the light's pulling the world around it. More detail into this card in here. Let's play with the sun a little bit. I'm gonna grab some light and well, mostly light. I'm just gonna pull that swirling effect I've been playing with. think what I really want to do is I want to have some fun with these swirls. Just on these windows here. I'm going to repeat that. These white swirls. I think what I want to do is add some window details, some highlights, stuff like this here. All the little people, little cars and stuff, and just giving some little white highlight definition along this street here. And we'll even just across here a little bit. Just really shows that that sunlight, that really means business, you know? Fun. I'm just gonna cast a little highlight on our bleeding edge here. It is. A nice, delicate little line. You good there? I'm looking at it in the preview. clean up my railings a little bit. Sharpen them up a little. Don't know what that could be, but whatever. I feel like that's going to bother me enough that I want to fill it in. I'm pretty happy with this. Maybe do a little bit more up in here. Spider-Man's neighborhood over here. Spider-Man color. I think we're done. Really happy with this. Now the fun part. I think the edges are dried enough that we can do the peel. Actually, let's leave that for a second and look at our foam core. We can prepare for tomorrow's painting. Tomorrow we're doing a more of an illustrated painting. Illuminate my sorry, it was in your way. Sorry. You know what? Do I prep tomorrow? No, that's lazy Dylan talking. It's gonna be a kind of a smaller painting, maybe. Definitely done with this. No, we're not, because we need to sign our name. Right there. Don't press a button. Nice. Could have prepped this during break, but I don't want to take another break. Pretty much done, I think. It's good right angle. Should maybe to just square it up. Do 24-inch or 24 centimeters by 24 centimeters. Dramatic music all over. Confirm that's the right angle. A nice small little painting tomorrow. Gesso. Where's my gesso? Need to buy more, actually. Yeah, there's barely anything in there. I'm gonna give this a light sanding, because foam core does have this plastic finish, and maybe sanding will just help the gesso apply to it a bit better. covering this gesso. And tomorrow's going to be a very painterly painting. It's going to be kind of laid on much thicker. I'm not worrying too much about my brush stroke with the gesso. If you don't have foam core, you can do this as well with cardboard or wood. Recycled. Well, the foam core that I get actually is recycled from architecture school in downtown Toronto. I won't say which. I just have a friend who works at one of the schools, and he lets me come in behind the through the secret doors and get myself some free materials. It's all stuff that's like left over from students who were just tossing it. We're getting tired of all these students tossing really good material, so she started a recycling program at their school. If you do this and you don't like the brush strokes, you can actually sand gesso. Sands really well. So you may want to do a second coat. You do some sanding. So gesso it, sand it, and then gesso it again, and sand it again. You should be good to go. Clean up the edges a little bit. Something neat. New gesso. This stuff is getting too thick. Low for a little while, and what's left just keeps drying out a little bit more every time I open it. Oh. So, oh, no, one more thing. After this, we will have a freshly primed paint surface. I won't say canvas. We're pretty far from canvas with this, but a nice square paint surface to work with tomorrow. On Thursday, I will probably be using one of my spare canvases that I have. They're just dollar store canvases. You can pick one up from the dollar store. On Friday, our last paint session for the week. Don't worry, I think we'll probably be doing more of these in the future. I'm having a lot of fun so far. It's only day 2, so already a yes from me. On Friday we got a Minecraft painting. Excited about. So I'm gonna go wash my hands before I do the reveal on this bad boy. Oh, you know what? Before I do, the canvas is looking kind of thin. Yeah, I think that's part of the aesthetic. Part of the aesthetic quality. It's just like loose in some spots. I really like this. This is a fun painting. I'm gonna wash up. Be back in just a minute. Okay, what do you think? Little red signature down here? Fun idea. Need a good clear shot of peel, right? Tendency of ignoring my coffee once we've started painting. Oh, this preamble. Fucking signature, damn it. used to attempt to do my signature all in one paint motion, as though it were ink. And I would do it like 20 times, because I would do it, not like it, wipe it away, do it, not like it, wipe it away. Some of my older paintings, you can actually see the dried acrylic, what shouldn't be affected by the painting of the signature, has like this, has sort of this wear where the signature is. Because I've redrawn the signature so many times. I've learned to just take my time with it. And I have a very simple signature too. Alright, let's peel. Set this to the other rooms, or actually might do after our painting. I love good peel. What do you guys think? Take me away for a moment. I'm pretty thrilled with that. For a 3-hour painting, not bad. Not bad at all. Thank you guys so much for joining me today in the studio. Oh, I saw like a muted audio box down in the bottom. It was just a different source. I had a panic attack there for a moment. Audio issues. This has been a lot of fun. This was a painting that I've had on my mind for a little while now. I want to do more cityscape style painting in the future, especially doing more overview shots of a city. I really like that perspective. But yeah, this was a lot of fun, just kind of being loose with it and not really worrying about making any problems or I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. It's been a day of painting, guys. Tomorrow we are going to be painting a unicorn. I'm not joking. We're going to be painting a unicorn flying through a galaxy. It's going to be a fun one. We're going to do a little bit of splatter painting, a little bit of like illustrative, maybe ink work, but I don't know. No, I'll keep it easy for you guys. We'll probably be pulling out black paint. I haven't used black paint yet. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but who needs black paint when you have all the other colors to work with? But we might want to do some really stark coloring tomorrow. Just be fun. All right, gonna call it. Thank you again for joining me. If you guys are interested in supporting me and what I'm doing here in the studio, links in the description thingy in the box below. You'll find, I don't know, you can buy me a coffee if you want. There's coffee links. There's Patreon. You can actually get some coloring pages that you can print out for yourself. And Etsy is stuff coming. We're working on things for Etsy. Who knows? Maybe I'll even get some prints of these made, so you can sell those onto the on an Etsy store, and they will be some of the Artist Studio merch. You know. All right, and I will go practice talking, I guess, because evidently I'm been really bad at that lately. See you guys tomorrow.